There's no intro music anymore because it was logistically a headache, but welcome home, you Clairemont Films sweethearts. Thanks for being here, Will and Kaden. I appreciate you.
I'll say good seeing you, Matt Waters.
Salud.
Salud.
You delinquents in your editing softwares, what have you been doing?
I'll say honestly, we've been getting ready for a premiere we have on October 10th for our newest film.
So is this going to be Artifact again?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Urban Artifact again.
Same deal. Only difference really is that it's a Halloween party and a costume contest. We're gonna have like a little prize bucket with a bunch of Clairemont gear and some fun little trinkets and stuff and some candy.
Sounds sick.
It's a little extra fun.
Last time you did a premiere there, it was more of all the shorts, right?
So yeah, we did. Okay, yeah. So last year we released Moonlight Hour, right? That was in September 6th, right, Kaden?
Yes.
So we released Moonlight Hour September 6th, and then about, I think it was April, we did a kind of like a showcase, like a noir style, we put all of our films in black and white, and then we kind of went through almost the entire history of Clairemont Films. So it was just us for 2 hours just sharing all of these shorts from 2 minutes all the way up to Moonlight Hour, which was 35 minutes, kind of to see the evolution of Clairemont Films.
That's awesome. What was it like to go black and white with everything that you'd already done in color?
So, dude, that's what actually really fun about it is because, in my opinion, they all looked really cool in black and white, and mostly because we kind of always aligned our idealism of color and shape with a lot of black and white noir films. So, a big technique I used in Moonlight was the 3 set lighting piece for most noir films, which is front light, mid light, and then a background light, something in the back, something in the middle, and you kind of get 3 representations of space, kind of like classic Disney with layering. You know how they would layer their cartoons and they'd have different backgrounds that would grow into the form. And so that's kind of the idealism of lighting that I used with, at least on my side. I'm dude, I want to use a lot of noir style black and white. And
explain that Disney thing though.
So back in the golden age is to film a lot of those scenes, what they would do is they would have a bunch of panels, right? Sections. They're maybe from 3 to sometimes 10, 12 panels, right? And they would all be different layers of the background, and then they would put their characters on the top layer and different things that move, and they would just flip in and out and take pictures.
So it's easier to do snapshot classic cartoonage that way.
You can have the background move, have different distances moving in different paces as you're walking through the screen. So this part of the background will move faster because you're closer to it, so you're witnessing the speed. Kind of like a car. When you're inside of a car, you're looking out the window, you look straight down, you're seeing it's really fast. It's got a lot of motion blur for your eyes, but if you look out far, it's moving slow and you can see very clearly. So that's kind of the theory that made it work,
Yeah, it's a lot of idea of composition in general, of just how makes images interesting, that you have different separations of it. Because if you don't have lighting like that, say, Matt, I'm looking at you right now. If I was just to shoot you regularly, just have a camera on you, it would look really, really flat because you only have really just one light on you. But if I had one colored light in the back, that's a different color, one main light, and then another light, a little highlight on you,
on the dark side,
you would look. It would just drastically improve that image. It would make it more interesting and more visually appealing to the eye.
Right.
And that is how a lot of cinematography and just lighting techniques in general work. Is just whatever you can do to separate things, but make them cohesive at the same time.
And when you try to do that as the undertone of all your lighting throughout these, just going more black and white kind of show you your evolution of doing that well? Did it expose parts of the process that you've improved on? Or?
Oh,
yes,
100%.
Yeah, because if it turns out to not look that great black and white, then for us, theoretically, we didn't really do our job well, because we want to create dynamic lighting, and if your lighting works in multiple situations, I'm sure you've seen still frames of movies where they take it and they'll change all of the color tones in the multiple different examples, right? And normally, if that can be changed into multiple different examples and still look good no matter what you're doing with the lighting or the coloring per se, that's the goal, and so that includes black and white. If you can just flip a film black and white and it looks good. I mean, it's going to change the feeling. You know, it's going to bring a different sort of
Emotion to it.
and tension sort of thing, you know, especially if it's a darker film, because it kind of like, especially for us in the modern day with so much color film, like black and white kind of almost brings you back to a time that you don't know. You kind of relate to it in like a mysterious, ambiguous way too. And so like that's also the understanding is like something like what's that movie? Robert Rodriguez.
Sin City.
So like that whole movie was done on green screen, right? And he filmed every character in that movie was filmed separately, unless like in frame together. So like none of them were in the same rooms at all. They all were just in a studio by themselves. We're talking Bruce Willis. What was the girl from? She was in King of the Hill, voiced.
Name's escaping me right now.
You know, a lot of big actors, all different rooms, all different green screens, and then they would use certain colors to make things stand out. So like with blood, they would use like a orange highlighted like liquid so that it would pop out, because he wanted to make certain things color, like blood or like this yellow nasty stuff that was coming out of this creature. So there were certain themes that he's like, oh, I want it to be this color, but because it's going to be black and white, I have to switch it. And so that films like that are almost impossible to watch in color, you know what I mean? Because they're so destined into that style of film. Like, I don't know, if you like, it's like Blade Runner, you know? It's like that. I feel like if you turn Blade Runner black and white, you could still get a very grim feeling from the city experience, but all that color kind of brings in the vibe of like the synth wave, cyberpunk feeling, you know. So there's limitations to it all and like what style you're trying to do, but ultimately, like if you have an idea of where you're going, and like we said, when we want to try to get a noir feeling, especially because we do a lot of crime-based stuff and a lot of like dark themes and a lot of like, you know, sort of life messages about things that happen that necessarily we don't like, but to try to speak upon, you know.
When you say noir, can you describe what that I don't know that word very well.
So I'm using it as in a sense of like black and white film. So like anything that you watch that is like considerably, and a lot of them are like crime based or like detective based, or Kaden, would you have a couple examples?
I would say my main example would be like Citizen Kane.
That's a good one.
Is probably the biggest example of like, if you're gonna watch any black and white movie, it would be Citizen Kane, just because that movie is so revolutionary for its time and invented a lot of like our cinematic language, like a lot of how like spotlighting stuff is used. Like if you want to highlight a character, or like really deep shadows, a lot of that comes from Citizen Kane.
Yeah.
And as far as like how Will's saying with what something is noir, it's just that, yeah, it's mainly just that lighting technique and those kind of techniques that they did in black and white.
Yeah, a lot of
to like make things pop or like bring out really contrasted images.
Yeah, like the like a lot of the, like, you know, when you see a really lit up figure but they're all blacked out, you know what I mean? What's that called? Silhouetting. When you that's a lot of that is themed in noir, and that's what we try to do. We try to create a lot of, I mean, I kind of have gotten to the point with lighting where I almost want to point the light at the camera, because it gets like sort of the flares, it gets, you know, there's something to see back there now. And it also kind of covers up anything you don't have background wise, because we like to play in certain situations where we'll use, you know, like black mats, and we'll like cover up sections, and then we'll put lighting in there kind of to fuzz out the visual. And so you don't even know that we're in just a basement, you know, like we're in situations like that. And noir film has always helped us get away with more stuff with limited.
Yeah. It's because with noir, you can play a lot more into darkness. Like you can have a character that just has like the rest of the room can be completely black. You honestly don't even, they can just be like down here in the basement, but the rest of it's black and they just have one light on them. It lets you just get away with a lot more if you play with darkness like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it makes things just a better mood-wise.
Yeah, do you ever go to just black and white when you're doing the editing process to make sure that highlights are happening on the right aspects of the character and you're not distracted by that whole element that you need to go back and edit at some point too?
Oh, 100%. Like, I also do that in photography as well. A good trick I learned is that in photography, if you want to know if a photo is good or not, turn it black and white. If it still is good and it still is interesting, you have a great ass photo right there, dude. Yeah, it definitely helps if you like, especially if you're feeling like weird or like something about this doesn't seem right, but I can't think of what it is. Just switch it to black and white, and usually you can figure out like, oh, contrast needs to be up, or this highlight needs to be up, or general exposure is down, or whatever lighting you need to do to it. It helps you figure that out a lot better and a lot easier.
And so this latest film that's coming out on, tell me the date again.
October 10th.
October 10th, yep.
Does watching everything in black and white and really pulling everybody into the room change how you're approaching it, or are you kind of past the filming portion of this next project by the time you're having that premiere?
So like what, like a viewing per se for like the people involved, or
I mean more of when you had this premiere, how far were you into this latest project?
So when we had the noir film, okay.
Yes.
So we started filming Fall from Grace in October last year, right?
Yeah, it was about mid to late October.
We started
when
talking
filming.
in September about it. We had this idea for a few years now. Me and Kaden have always wanted to do a film with like a mostly female-led cast. We just always wanted to do that, and so we created this story, and we kind of just, I recorded it, like, oh, let's talk about it. Like, here's the plot synopsis, and then just kept it on my phone. And then years later, we met our co-director for the film, Maisie Erdl, sitting over there on the side. And we...
refusing to be on camera today.
And we wanted to do something... Yeah,
She's here for more
refused.
support. She's here in spirit.
She's going to be on stage, so you'll get her then. But we started... we pitched her the idea, and she really liked it. And so her and Kaden kind of took the role of like taking that synopsis and then writing a story with it. And then we wrote that in 2 weeks, and then just like made some day sheets, called a few friends. We got Joe Ellen, Raven Reed again. She was in Moonlight Hour for a small part, but she's in a much bigger role now. Rachel Closeback for another role, and then I myself am in it. And dude, oh my god, I played the worst piece of shit ever, dude. I'm such a bad dude in this movie. Like,
does doing that make you a better person in your real life because you're trying to make up for shit you had to do on set?
Right. No. Well, I could say this, dude. When you get to, when you're acting, I mean, you're trying to invoke emotion. You're trying to be realistic. You're trying to persuade the viewer or even like the people in the room that you are the thing that you're representing, right? And so there was a moment during this film where I'm screaming and yelling at Rachel, after and then she crawls away and we call cut, and I'm just like, God, dude, thank God that's over, man, because that sucks. Like I just emotionally don't like being violent or overbearing or like screaming and yelling at people. And so like that made me feel that, and as much as I was like, oh, that sucked, I feel like because of that emotion that I felt, that was displayed, you know what I mean? And so it was a weird thing to kind of to deal with the character, and trying to be something that you're not, especially when it's such a horrible thing, Mm-hmm. And so it was like kind of invigorating and like mind opening to a sense. I'm like, man, hopefully that displays through onto the film, because that's the whole point of it.
Well, there's something really fascinating to me about when someone's aware of the darkness that's within people, like until you're kind of presented with the scenarios that call for that kind of thing, we all like to think like, I can never be mean to my ma, I can never hurt another human being. But when someone is brutally aware of the fact that they're choosing not to be that, they've had to go down that route before, and today they've chosen not to, I find it almost more admirable because the lights are turned on and they're never turned off in that regard.
Right.
So you have this perception of yourself that you have to deal with in the day-to-day. You play this character that you wrote in yourself, and I find that very admirable too, where it's like, man, I wrote this piece of shit down, and boy, did I not want to be him, but for this moment I have to be him. And then for the rest of the day, you know that you were capable of that you did that. Now, it doesn't have the same moral implication of actually doing it in real life, but it still has the emotional resonance. Like, I feel sick with what I did today.
Right, right. It's almost like the thought of that action, you know? It's like, because we're representing things in life that we've seen before. You know, obviously with an extension of, you know, exaggeration, but that's like the stories kind of reflect real life, and to come like at the end of the day to reflect on it is the whole point. I feel like for us is like to see those things happen, and then a lot of times in our film, you know, there's a catch, you know, like there's a thing at the end that kind of gives like almost the situation like an axe, you know, like it almost like cuts it right at its throat, you know. And that's what we kind of like to do. We like to kind of bring people along for this weird ride of emotionalism and then kind of cut the throat of it normally towards the end, and like just kind of make you think about it, like, oh wow, so like in this film with Fall from Grace, like you watch my character do all these actions, and then like, you know, there is a moment of like revenge per se, and the viewer, we want to feel rejoiced for the character by possibly getting out of the situation, right? But I also want you to think like, man, the way they did it and what they did, that's not really good either. So like, as much as I agree with the justice that happens, I almost don't want to agree with the justice they did. You know what I mean? Like, and that's the kind of like mixed reaction we want to throw at you to make you kind of think about your own like moralities and your own like depictions of life and how to handle certain situations, you know, because everybody can just say something and be like, and react to something, you know, but like to actually sit back and go, well, was that right too? Was the reaction right too? You know, like it's just as morbid, you know what I mean? And that's kind of what we like to do with ours.
Yeah, but I think it comes down to more with what you're talking about, Will. It's the idea of, is it okay to fight fire with fire?
Right. That's perfect. I love that. That's way better than what I said.
Well, and I'd imagine it's really difficult to say, I've written the script, I've reread the story, I've presented it to people, and I know how I want people to feel at the end.
Right.
But then to do the whole project and sit there with this feeling of resolve and say, did I accomplish that goal? It's like, you don't have a bird's eye view. You'll never be a first-time viewer in that setting. You kind of need to show it to other people to assess, did I hit the mark in that regard?
Right.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah, it is like a weird thing you have to. I mean, there's different experiences you have with the film while you're editing it throughout the process. So like with this film, I'd say the editing process was about over the course of like 6 to 8 months.
Yeah, about 6 to 8.
And so, I mean, dude, my opinions change so much, and I see new things every, you know, time I'm on there. And like, it just, once it gets to the point where I've kind of ran out of ideas is when I'm like, okay, this is kind of it. And then it's always about, for me, like bringing it up to others, like asking Kaden to come sit down and watch it, asking Maisie to come sit down and watch it. And like, is this good? Is this the right way? Can we do this differently? Do you see anything? Do you have any ideas? Kaden, honestly, it was like 2 weeks before we uploaded it and set it to premiere. Kaden had one of the best ideas, I feel like, that we've had in the entire film, and it was just like an effect to throw on top of a scene, like some masking and like showing like past events with what's happening now to kind of resolve all of it, you know. And I'm like, wow, that's such a good fucking idea, you know? And I felt like I needed something there. So now, like, yeah, let's do that. And then it worked out so perfectly, and it just evoked more emotion because you're now re-experiencing things that we witnessed before. And I'm like, just little ideas like that. But we never would have got to that if I wouldn't have been like, Kaden, you know, I feel like something's missing here. Watch it with me and let's think of something.
Yeah, and there's a really interesting part of like the artistic endeavor to say like, I'm going to leave certain things unfinished because I know the process will unveil what it needs.
Yes.
Much more than I can just fill space to fill space. It's like when you get in your first apartment and you buy everything you think you need, and then there's a corner that you could decorate, and you could go to Home Depot right now and put a 2x4 with a lampshade on it, but that's not what it needs.
Right. Yep.
Live there for a year and a half, and you're going to find a garage sale where a woman's selling, I don't know, a mannequin of Ronald McDonald, and you're like, that's what's got to
Right.
be in my home now. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, and then you're just slowly putting it together, man. It is. It's like a lot like a space, you know, like we as humans go out and we experience new things, right? So say like we go out to a show and like we get a new poster for the flyer of the show and we're like, man, that was fun. We put it in a frame and then we put it on the wall. And then we go and do that 10 more times throughout the next 3 years. Every time we have a new thing to add to the wall, you know, and there's a new experience to understand, say in the music world, like going to concerts, a new experience of music, you know, and it builds perspective, you know, because like just watching musicians play, you know, for someone that's done that a lot of his life, like you learn a lot about how concerts work and how the industry works just by witnessing guys come on stage, all the roadies moving wires, setting drums up, pulling guitars, putting amps up, fucking mic and stuff. You get to witness all of that if you're standing there. And like if you listen to music and never go to a concert, you'll never know any of that stuff because you'll never witness it. But you get to see little tricks and tips that different guys do every time you go to the concert, and then you get to take that home with you. And if you're a musician, you get to utilize that experience within your skill set, and you know. So that's what we always try to do. We watch so many fucking movies, dude. Like the worst movies and the best movies, like any and all things, man. And that's kind of the whole process. Is like if you want to be good at something, just like watch the shit that you like and that you want to do, and you'll take from it as you go, and then you'll get like you'll. This is why I like the South Park guys, because they do it in 6 days and then they just drop shit, right? And then they never look back, and they don't care, and they don't want to change it, they don't want to redo it. They're just like, there's a deadline, it's over, we're done, move on. And I feel like me and Kaden have also held that same standpoint. Like we do a project, we drop it, we get away from it, that's it. That thing's over. It's on to the next thing, because if you don't focus on the next thing, you're not going to be able to take all the things you learned from those past things and put them into the new thing that you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
You get stuck.
never look back is something that I need to hear today. I think we all can live with that a little bit more honestly in our lives, because there's something too about like I've told many parents this, and I have no place in telling a parent what to do with making their kid into the person that they expect them to be, or allowing them to be that person. But I think one of the deaths of modern music is the lack of the family piano, because you never get up there and make sound yourself. If you watch the dunk contest and you've never yammed on a 6-foot hoop, it's not that impressive.
Yeah.
If you've never tried to go for the film that is in your mind, then it's not that impressive when someone does okay.
Yeah.
And there's that step of, okay, I'm going to attempt the thing I admire, but then also getting past the fear of execution because last time it didn't work out.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, if you go for that bucket and you get denied at the rim, that's a pretty horrible day of 4th grade hooping.
Oh,
but guess
dude.
what? By the time you're a senior in high school, if you didn't overcome that fear, you're forever going to get rejected, you know,
Right.
at the bucket versus just going for it.
You're gonna suck because you don't want to do it because you're scared to do it.
I was
And-
trying to say it nicer than that,
I'm
Will, but
sorry.
yes,
You
you
know.
know, you're gonna fucking suck.
That's
You're gonna
why-
be shitty.
yeah.
Your parents aren't gonna be proud of you if you don't go for it. I
Right.
mean,
it really is that, man, and it's a pride of just wanting to do it. Like if you want to be an artist, if you want to be a welder, man, you could anything in this world. Like you want that thing, you got to go and try to do that thing, because you're gonna make mistakes. Like you could sit in your room for 2 years and study all of it, learn all about it, but the day that you actually go out and do it, you're gonna fuck all of it up, and you're not going to do any right. You're going to learn like, oh, there's a whole bunch of other minor details that I'd never learned about because I wasn't messing with the equipment. Like me and Caden's been pretty lucky when it comes to like malfunction equipment, right? Normally if something fucks up, it's because we broke it and we just fucked it up.
Usually,
you know?
yeah.
But like most of the time we don't have malfunctioning equipment, you know, because we take pretty decent care of our stuff, and we tend to care for like the minor details to all of our things, you know. And that's kind of put us ahead to where we don't have to go and like continue to replace because we're not fucking it up, because we are delicate and slow in the learning process while doing it as well. And that's something you got to learn too when you get into things, is like, you know, you can go in gung-ho and fucking try to fucking set everything on fire and fucking do all the things you want to do right now. But if you go and do that, you're not gonna take in the learning aspect of it, which is slow down, realize the mistakes you're making, and adjust, change your game plan, make adjustments to your playbook, and then attack accordingly, and that's where our steps, I feel like, have worked out well for us within the short films, because was it like 5 we talk about?
Yeah, it's every 5.
About every 5 we take a giant leap, right? Because we took all the stuff that we learned from the last 5 and jumped even further, and our expectations get higher. We're kind of like, we don't want to make shit that we think sucks now, because like we look back at what we did in the beginning. It's like, yeah, we were just ambitious and wanted to do something, but as we learned, it's like we should never do anything like that again. We should be better than that, because we've done that already. So we should have learned from that. And if we didn't, we're stagnant, and then it's just like, what's the point? It's about growth. At the end of the day.
And there's something so brutal about looking back on your past work, since like I can either have dissent for where I was or admiration for where I am, and they are the same coin, but it takes a lot of honesty and kind of sorting through the emotions to get there. And you guys have a lot of at-bats at something that most people will never attempt, even if they love it. And it's really easy to go to a premiere and see what you guys do and think that you could be capable of that kind of thing. But you rarely miss for 2 maniacs that are working with a budget and a friend group and, all the limitations that come with living a life and making great art. The greatest compliment I could give is that you guys rarely miss, and I love that about you both. You're maniacs to the highest extent of the word.
Well, thank you, man.
dude.
Yeah, and it's really is, I feel like, the care, because even when we are down in life, and we're going through stuff, like I'm still always like walking up and going, hey man, I'm thinking about this for this movie, like, I got this idea. Oh yeah, dude, that'd be sweet. What if we did this and when we did that? And like, it's all still about, like, we're always thinking and wanting to further ourselves in the film world. And with Moonlight Hour, that was kind of like, I always talk about, like, it was our like final exam for college sort of thing. Like, that was like, okay, we're taking a step into some pretty big waters here. Like, we better know how to swim. And then Fall from Grace, because that's 22, 23 minutes long. Yeah. So a little shorter, but still a very big project. And when it comes to like the sets and to like the costuming, which Maisie had a lot to do with.
Oh yeah.
And also Liz Campbell, shout out to her. She helped a lot with costuming and props, and like that's because this film really, like, and I said this at the wrap party to the cast. It's like this film specifically is more theirs than it is ours. As much as like we created the original concept, like Maisie and Kaden wrote it, because with this film we wanted to have a woman's perspective. We wanted to get that ingrained into the script and into the environment and into the culture, because a lot of that stuff that we're focused on, I don't really know much about, and so I had to learn a lot about witches and magic and certain things and why they do this and that, and there's a lot of reasoning into all that stuff, and I had no idea. I'm like, oh, this is all new to me, So it was fun to learn about that process and to get a new perspective on things, because now I can take that and move forward, knowing that knowledge. So like if I want to do anything in similarity, I have that perspective now, and that was kind of the beauty of this film, is that we got to we kind of gave it to everyone else to kind of like create the environment for the story that we kind of envisioned all these years ago. And it turned out really good, and all, so like I said, so much work went to the environment, the costumes, and like that stuff we've never really went for. We've always, like we said, we'll put a black screen up and put a light, and we'll make it work. We'll go to your house, we'll set some like weird color lights up, and we'll walk in the door, dude, and do the thing. That's what we've done a lot of our film stuff. And this one, we really, like, we went out and you might have seen the video. It was out in the field, and we had this big like bonfire set up with this like relic and all this stuff, and it's like crazy, man. Like, it took a whole fucking half a day to set this shit up, and we had so much help and so much excitement for the project. It was really nice, because we've always done Moonlight Hour was bigger, but we still had like a limited cast. We had 8 people in the movie total, right? Like on screen. and then we had like I think one extra off screen of like hands. So 9 total people involved with this film. This film, it felt like there was like 20 people involved.
Yeah.
About, you know, like at different times and measures from production assistants to makeup artists to the actors themselves. And they're all our friends. These are all people we just hang out with. And like, you know, we do movie nights on Wednesdays and they come over and we watch weird fucking films together and just learn about each other's in different cultures and what we think is cool. And that's the beauty of film, man. It's like, it's not like film is not a one-man show ever, you know, as much as like a lot of credits given to directors or given to producers or given to this and that. The film is not a one-man show. Like there are certain people that are fucking engines, man, and they fucking run hot, dude, and they go hard. But there's always like 20 to 30 people behind them that are making this shit happen that they're thinking of, you know. And that's what this film really gave to me, was that like, well, we're taking a step into actual like film crew on set. Like we have like, I have to actually delegate things and like show like, okay, this is what we want to do here. This is how we're going to do this. And then this time we're going to film this, and this, and have a schedule. And we got day sheets and we got scripts out. We got shot lists, you know, the whole 9 yards, man. And it felt so good to have that sort of professionalism in this film, you know, because we've wanted to do that, you know, we've attempted it and we've had certain sections of that professionalism kind of checked off. But for this one, we really wanted to like nail it in. And so like paperwork wise, it was stacks, and people wise, it was the bunches, you know, and we just said, here, you know, Kaden will fucking hold the camera. I'll fucking delegate. And then this is your guys' film.
Well, it's so interesting to frame it as that too, because after a certain while in your artistic endeavor, you start to find out that, well, my perspective runs out at some point. There's only so many unique ideas that I can share in the world. It sounds like there's a massacre going on there. This is the real joys of working in my parents' basement. It's just like, I'll be in the middle of a vocal take, and the mailman will come up, and the dogs will go to hell for it.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, well, that's probably not the take.
They're at least they're adorable, you know. They get away with it.
They're cute as hell.
They are cute as hell.
Yeah. Now, but when you're going for someone else's perspective, but you still need to delegate, to ask questions and not assume answers is such a bitch of the mind.
Yeah.
And you're doing that at the highest level of, well, I've written out 20 days of blocking, scripting, set design, all these things that need to happen. But I still can't be the spearhead of that thing. I still need to fill that gap in. So getting to this point where it's like, the only thing you could control is the process.
Right.
And the process kind of became the art, it sounds like. So if you could boil it down to the 3 biggest tips that if you two could go back and tell yourselves for your first film that you've learned throughout this project, where does that begin?
Watch more movies. That's always my advice.
Really?
Oh yeah, watch more movies right now.
I would say one, like we were talking about before we started the podcast, understand what your strengths are and this is the thing, you have to be really honest with yourself of what you can do and what you can do. Like me, I could delegate. I can go around and tell people what to do.
He can't do that.
But Will is better at that than me. So I will give that to him because that is better for the project.
Yeah.
The same as Will could be set up shots. He could set up cinematography, write a whole shot list.
Yeah.
He can do that.
I can run camera.
But I am better at that than him. So it makes more
Absolutely.
sense for me to do that.
Yeah.
And that's where like working with a big group of people, you do have to like check your ego at the door and say, what is best for the project and where am I best at and where do I need to be?
Right, and when everyone has that understanding on set, you get a really contempt and competent, like, agreeable group of people that, like, no matter what situation occurs, like, it gets figured out within 30 seconds because we're all like, hey, what about this, boom, boom, boom. Okay, yeah, that works. Let's go. And it makes it so much simpler because it's not just, like, me or Caden sitting there with, like, a fucking dumb look on our face thinking really hard about, like, oh, how do we fix this, you know? We can just ask openly, like, hey, guys, so this is the issue. What do you think? And we'll get some sort of, you know, answer within that time frame that's more doable.
And it's really difficult to not just delegate the task itself, like to initiate a task and be like, can you do this? And they say
Right.
yes, and then it ends. that leads to me having to ask you to do the next task. So leaning into the macros of what can you handle so it never ends up on my plate to even hit that start button. Like, I struggle with that so much in my personal life and in running my band. And to do that for a film that's going to last for 25 minutes and we're going to shoot this for a month, it's like, well, I never want costuming to end up in the things I need to do. If you need me, come to me, initiate and end that task so I can get back to this thing.
Right, bring it to me. I'll give my opinion on your work, because it's now your project. It's your creative endeavor. You get to curate that fitting, and then just bring it to me and get the approval. Bring it to Kaden, get the approval. If everybody thinks it looks good, then it looks fucking good, and we can. That's what we're dealing with, and Kaden was going on some good points about like the different things, and one of the things I thought of that like. We have like a good set, like, so I'm a really good like vocal storyteller, right? Like I'm really good at like kind of inching people through certain beats through this, like how we're doing now with my voice, right? Whereas Kaden is a novelist. Kaden's written at this point it's multiple novels now, right?
Yeah.
Because you have that trilogy that's like 1,500 pages.
Yeah, and then I have a bunch of other like either shorter stories or go up to like 100, 150 pages.
So that's So Kaden's a writer. Kaden writes and is good with typing those words out. So I'm good at speaking. He's good at typing. So at the end of the day, like I can sit there and go, so we'll do this, and then this will happen, and then oh my god, this emotional thing will come, and then this will relate to this in the past part of the story, and blah blah blah. And then Kaden can really get the detailing in on that. And then normally what will happen is once we have a full script and like Kaden's gotten it all down, and I'll pitch in a little bit if I like, you know, cause dude, it's tiring work. Like it's hard to sit there and fucking axe that out, man, especially, you know, when we got 100-page fucking scripts sometimes, you know. And so, but at the end of it, once we have that, normally I go back over and I start to kind of edit. I'm like the script editor for the most part. Kane still does a lot of that too, but I'll kind of like be that last line of defense to make sure that everything that we want and to make it make all sense, right, works out. And that's kind of like the fun of the process, and that's that knowing your strengths and weaknesses, you know, is like I know that I am not the best when it comes to literature itself. Caden's much better, so we try to delegate where Kaden writes the most, but I know that I can very verbally explain stories and emotions and beats and how to do all of it, you know. And then if there's an issue like with the story, we can talk about it really fast and then write it down so we can figure problems out quicker through because I'll shoot out 5 ideas in fucking 10 seconds, you know. Well, what if we do this, or oh, what about this, or oh, we could do this, and there's this, we got this many directions. I always do that. There's 2 options, or there's 3 options. You know, I'll have lines like that, and I'll come up with ideas on that kind of scale, you know, and it'll be really fast and quick. And then Cade will be like, all right, boom. And he's got a really good memory too. Like mine's a little more shaky. He's got a good memory, so if we talk about something and we don't write it down, normally he can take it in the next few days and get it in there and like have it down in the bank so that it's not forgotten and stuff. Because we have like moments where we're just walking through the day and it would just hit me, man, you know. A lot of times this shit hits me too right before I'm going to bed, you know. It's like the shit that kind of keeps you up at night, you know, like, that's how we fucking do that, you know. And I want to get that off my chest and speak it into the world. And so that's where my part is because I do get that sort of like, oh, I got an idea. Here it is. Is it a good idea? It is? Okay, let's write that down. You know what I mean? And that's kind of the ebb and flow of it all, and what makes it, I feel like, an easier process and makes the stories good, like better, you know? Because if I was to just write a story, because 1037 I wrote with Jimmy Klepper, he helped me co-write that story, and that was mostly just my script. Like I wrote that script and format and everything. So that's more of a me script, whereas When I'm Gone is a Kaden script. Like I didn't have anything to do with that script. That was all Kaden's words and design and development, right? So those are like the 2 examples of like the differences of story writing. Whereas like 1037 is very dark, grim, and fucked up. That's me. And then When I'm Gone is very bright. How would you describe it, Kaden? I'm out of your words.
I'll say very emotionally heavy, more character focused. Like 1037 is more of a situation, while When I'm Gone is more of what's the word I'm looking for? More of an emotional tension between two people. It's more personal in that regard.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, 1037 is more like a general thing.
I can create situations, and then Kaden can make them personal. You know what I mean? And that's where we kind of bounce off of each other. And then Maisie, being involved with this now, she's been able to kind of match both of us. She kind of has a bit of both of us in it because she writes and she also can talk your fucking head off like me. So she kind of bounces in between like in a trifecta at this moment, and especially with Fall from Grace, like that was the process was so easy, man. Like we filmed this movie in 2 months, like comparable to Moonlight Hour, it took 6 months to get the main scenes done. That's insane work for us to like go from that sort of timeline to this, and it's because we put all the extra work in precursor, and it didn't take long, dude. It was like I said, 2 weeks to write the script. I'd say we prepped for about
a month and a half.
Yeah, because we finished it early September, the script, and then we started filming October, like mid-October.
It was mid to late October.
Like the teens.
Yeah.
And they're like 12, 13th.
It wasn't a long stretch of time, especially by comparison to Moonlight Hour, which if you go from start to end of that was what?
3.5 years.
3.5 years.
The release, yeah. From conception to release was 3.5 years. And so this was like a year on the dot from conception to finish line, And so that's a fucking magnitude of fucking shrinking of timeline, dude. Like we just times our efforts by 6 almost, And so it kind of it's really nice when you have people that are willing to like bounce off of each other and kind of just resolve the situation in the moment, and then move forward in the process. And because like there was moments where me and Maisie would try to figure some stuff out. There was we're working on shots and what we're going to do. It's cold outside, so like there's a scene where I got to kind of get like down in my skinnies a little bit, and it's fucking cold, so we got to plan accordingly to where I come in at the end. There's different shots that it kind of jumps in between, so like this is how the shot list work, but we need to work out how we're going to do that, and we come together, have a little tiff about it. Well, this. No, well, I think this. Well, maybe we should do it like this. All right, cool, we'll do this. And then we go right into it. And it takes about 30 seconds of delegation, because we have all this prep work to look at to go, okay, so this is how we do it. And it makes it easier. We don't have to sit here and discuss how we're going to do things for 20 minutes and then finally get to doing it. No, it's like, oh, well, here's the paperwork. What do we need to do? Oh, this.
So what really changes the efficiency between Moonlight and this project? And do you feel like that's a tone that's been set that will continue on, or just this project was much faster?
I think that's the tone that we're going to set in general, because that's what we wanted to do at Moonlight Hour. We did kind of push the pedal sooner than we per se wanted to when it came to the pre-work. Like we wanted to do a full shot list. We only had about half of the shot list done.
It was about half, and then when we started filming, then we finished it within like 2 months.
Yeah, so
of that time period.
Not like much time to really kind of scope everything out per se. And I think that laid in the hands of us discussing on set how to get certain things, and that led to longer times on set. Because literally, like, I think the biggest difference was just us having all of the extra paperwork. Like, we had the script, that's an obvious, we're always going to have that. But the shot list and then the day sheet, like, it really gave the actors and crew members, especially because we're running with more people this time, gave them a really good general idea when to be there, when we're going to be doing certain things, what they need to prepare for, what they need to mentally prepare for, what lines they need to learn, where we're going to be at, what we're going to be doing, And so that, in general, the functionality worked out like 200% better, because we had all this work and everybody was agreed upon that work that this is good, this is what we're going to do. If we need to make adjustments, they're going to be easy. And that's what really it comes down to is like, dude, it's so hard to like manifest all of the things that's going on in a film, like from the lighting to the camera to the actors to the set, and there's different people on all these different things. So like when I'm directing and like telling the actors how, like, this is how I want to see you, and this is what I want to do, and this is what you blah blah blah, you come here, you walk here, blah blah blah, give them direction. Caden's on the camera making his own decisions now. I'm not back there telling Kaden what I want from him now. I'm telling the actors what I want from them. So now Caden's back there making his own decisions and choosing his own shot lining and all that, and then I'll come around and go, all right, cool. and then it's done, and then we're on to the next thing, because Kaden already has a list. So I have a script talking with actors, and Kaden has his own list, working on shot, and then probably talking with Maisie, and then Maisie would go work between us. And more functionality to the highest degree, dude. It was so easy to do this film. Like, it blows my fucking mind, like how quick and easy we made it. Honestly, the editing process was the longest because we wanted to take time on it. Like, we want to make sure we get ideas in it. That's why it took 6 to 8 months. It could have been done in 2, dude. Like, if I would just fire through it, it could have been done like that, and that's how easy it was.
Well, I think one of the things that people don't admire the most is the editing process, where it's like there's romanticism to being on set and filming these things, but how do you take the bulk collection, start to cook it down into what goes into the end, what becomes the trailer? How do you kind of organize and make note of these things before you start assembling from raw components?
So honestly, man, for us, it's kind of like, okay, when we write the script, we come up with a lot of themes, right? And as we write out the script and we kind of get these like major like story themes, we look at our elements within our story and see what kind of things represent what our themes are, right? So and for this one, with the trailer and with the teaser video, what the theme we kind of went with was like the fire. So like there was a fire at some point in the film, right? And so we themed a lot of that with fire, and then a lot of it with the witches, because the main storyline is more about 2 people, right? And then this group of witches comes into their situation per se, but we didn't really want to frame it as their story, right? We wanted to frame it as a bigger, more encompassed thing, because the theme is based off of this group of witches. But the story goes on about these 2 individuals mostly, and about how they get brought into this witch group and how their situation gets dealt with that group. And so that's, I don't know, okay, what would you say?
I would say that's more of what you're going on, Will, is more of a separation of what is plot and what is story, which those words are both interchangeable a lot of the times, but a good rule of thumb that I've used and has worked really well for me is that plot is what happens, story is why it happens. So with this film, the elevator pitch I've always given it is about a group of witches that get a girl out of an abusive relationship.
Perfect.
But at the end of the day, that story is about that abusive relationship.
Right. Right.
And so when you have this bulk collection of all the film, and you kind of cooked it down to this is the thesis of the film.
Yeah.
What kind of organizational strategies do you use to start to put this thing together? Because you have the script and you have the 50 different options of that particular moment. I mean, yes, there's a right answer for how it felt from the actors, but to have the right answer of the time of day, the lighting, all the changes that happen, all the interchange between why we chose this one and not that.
Right.
Yeah.
And there is, because you want to create certain environments, and we focus a lot on like feelings, right? Like everything makes you feel something, right? So like you just said, day night, right? So daytime, it's normally like more appealing and happy, and depending on the color tone of the day, right? If it's blue, it's more depressing. But if it's yellow, then it's like, this is a good day. It's sunny, it's shiny, the vibe is good. Whereas nighttime, you can create more scary themes and terror and like disturbing and anxiety and do stuff because of the darkness, right? Because us humans are naturally afraid of the dark, right? And so that sort of element, and we kind of play with that. So like in our film No Reason, Ricky plays this like serial killer, and he's like dressed up in like button up, black pants, kind of like looks like a little bit like a Mormon almost, and it's in the middle of the day, and he's following me throughout the middle of this day. It's nice and sunny, and there's a song going bam 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 and it's real fun. It feels fun, but it's disturbing and it's weird because this isn't a normal situation. It's daytime. This guy's following this guy. This guy's singing about being a psychopath really happily. So we're playing with those themes of like, normally this would be like spotlight in the dark, and this guy, it's a late at night, and this dude's following him, and it's like wah, wah, and making it all creepy and shit. But instead we went bam, 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 and made it real fun while we're following this guy. And then as he reaches the door and the victim walks inside, he comes up, and then the music gets menacing, and then the sky turns blue, and then we walk in, and then all of a sudden it's all blue and dark. It's just like boom, and then that sound takes over, and then we turn the screen red. You know, so we developed like, oh, we're really happy, and then like, whoa, things got a little weird. Whoa, things are getting really weird, and we use that by distinction of color. You know, because it was daytime, and then we made it blue and darker, and then we turned it red on you.
Yeah.
So we changed your entire feeling within a minute scope. You know what I mean? And we built you up with all this tension just based off of our human reaction to things. You know what I mean? And that's something we like to focus on and try to find reasons why. You know, like, why would people do this? Why would we do this like this? What would make people feel like this? And as many things that we can do to make it make sense, we're going to throw in there every single time. And that's why I feel like a lot of our stuff lands, is because we are thinking about those psychological, like, human instincts, right? And that's a thing that a lot of filmmakers go based off of, and that's where a lot of the success in film is people that understand human emotion and can convey that on the screen through the sound, get their actors to portray those things well, you know. And that's where it's a team effort, because everybody all has different like slates of emotion, right, and understanding of life and how things happen, and coming to an agreement on those things, especially when you're talking within a theme of a film, because it's obviously about a subject, it's obviously about a specific thing. So what makes those things work, you know? Because like if you're telling a story, telling a story about a man, you're going to have certain elements that stereotype with the life of a man. If you make a story about a woman, you're going to have the same situation but with the woman. You're going to have those different perspectives to do that. A man can't really make the life of a woman's story without that woman telling him their story, because they're never going to experience that. And so it's all about perspective and learning those little ins and outs of things, you know, and having the resources and the people willing to and have those conversations.
Yeah, and something like that's like, as far as like the organization of editing and how that begins, usually what we do is we'll get like the general idea, like we'll have the script shot list, we'll lay it out like that, and then we'll go in with like Will saying, okay, how do we evoke this feeling through the editing process? What do we need to make this cut work? Or we had this idea before, we thought it was going to work, but it doesn't. Now we have to figure out a way. And it's just massaging the process. But yeah, the easiest thing to do as far as editing and organization is just get it all there. Because like, yeah, we could focus on one individual scene at a time. And this goes back to what we were talking about earlier about being able to move on for projects and stuff, is just get it down. Do not agonize over tiny little details, because you'll do it forever. You'll do it for hours if you can.
You'll never finish that last 5%, dude.
No, never will.
We're not intelligent enough or creative enough to do that, like as an individual. Like it just comes into that same proprietary of like all inventors and inventions, like less than 5% of humans create new things. You know what I mean? Like this is a brand new invention. It comes in the same scope. You're never going to fulfill every single little detail, dude. You're going to have to let something go, and you're just going to have to deal with it because you can't figure it out, and be okay with that. And when maybe you get that perspective a few years down the road, just realize it and then go forward with it into anything you're doing now, because you can't look back and be like, no, I fucked it up. No, it's like, move on. You cannot fuck up the next thing if you just try a little harder and understand yourself a little better.
When there's always these moments of I think we're hyper fascinated in this age with the gadgets that help human beings do things. Mm-hmm. But what it comes down to is what the human beings did with those things. So when you're auditioning 3 versions of the same scene, well, it's easy to say which one's the cleanest, but which one conveys that emotion the most is really difficult. And to be one person to choose that, I think that's where, you know, your lifestyle, I don't know if you still live in that same house, but it's like to have a shared office that 2 people walk into and only one decision walks out. You know, there's always a winner when it comes to that. And it's not necessarily the person, it's the project. It's how those compromises get made and help us to
100%.
delegate to a certain decision. Because there's all kinds of pops and inconsistencies and color issues and things that we changed in the next take, but we didn't change in this take, but that take is the one that has to be there. Sorting through that, and like you said, you got to move on. You got to let go and just say what's best is best and leave.
Yep.
There's, I never really thought about this, but the intuition and the intellect are two sides of that decision-making process, and one kind of negates the other. It's hard to intellectualize something and then still lead with the gut, and vice versa. So you have to say, well, one's going to win out here, and it may come with some questions of, did I get it done right? But
Right, and sometimes it's a human thing, dude. It's all we're working together, you know. So even if you don't win and you don't feel like it's the right move, or your gut doesn't give you that feeling, you know, you do just have to like give people stuff, you know, like give them the win, you know, because it might not be worth it for the relationship of like the work, you know, like you don't want, if someone really believes in something, man, they really think it's going to be the thing and it really is going to work, and you kind of have just like a minor issue with it, then you should just fucking get over it and move on with that idea and try it, you know, because that's the thing, is you can always try shit and you can go, oh, that didn't work, and then just go do it again, you know. That's the beauty of film, is you can always reshoot stuff, you know. The biggest issue we've ever really had with like reshoots has been like hair, like our hair growing out, you know. It's like if we stylized it a certain way, then if it gets a month or two down the road, it's like, well, fuck, their hair's long now, we gotta trim it up. And Moonlight Hour, we simplified it for the three characters. You know, Rachel had a ponytail, I had a beanie on the whole time, so just a little bit of curls popped out, so it didn't matter the length. And then Ricky was just like had like a mid cut, so it was a little long, so it could go a little further. But then if we got it cut, as long as we didn't go too short, it worked.
It's very similar to like when you're cutting vocals. They say like you can't cut two different vocals together from different days because
you sound different.
Yeah, it's a different person. You might be a little bit more nasally today. And it's like there's no congruency in that thing. So figuring out how to step in, and do we go for it again, or do we just live with what's there? Because going back and reshooting this is going to be...
And those are big decisions, man, you know. And it's nice to... It's nice to know that like people have your back in those decisions too, because like if it is a mistake, you know, we all fucked up. You know, we all made the mistake. We all decided to go through with this. You know, even if one person like died on that bridge, you know, it's like, well, we decided to do this, and like, you know, that person may give a look like, man, we shouldn't have done that, but it is what it is. It's like, yeah, well, at least we tried. So, you know, that's all that matters, is that we're trying to do stuff and to make it better. And if we fail, then that's good too, because we learned how to or how not to do those things. And that's, again, the same point always, is just trying to learn more and more and more. You know, I always, anybody that ever gets into like the film world or wants to be involved or they want to learn stuff, I always like try to send them this big package of YouTube videos that I've started watching and like collected together in this little playlist. It's like 100+ videos, dude. It just talks about everything from lighting to script work to actors to like framing to movement to shots and value and whatever, any and all things film, you know. And it's always like, oh, just throw that shit on and just let it ride, you know. Like, you may not watch the whole fucking things, but like if you walk by and then like someone starts talking about something very interesting, you'll sit there and you'll learn about it, you know. And one of those videos I learned, like, dude, in the film world, among editors, women are considered the top credentialed fucking editors. Like, we're talking like George Lucas's wife. She made Star Wars work. Like, the first few cuts George Lucas showed to some execs, Steven Spielberg said, this movie sucks. And then his wife got a hold of it and she re-edited it, and that was the version that went to theaters and got a fucking huge reaction, noted as one of the best films ever. Same with like Quentin Tarantino. He had, and R.I.P. to her, he had the same editor throughout his first, all the way up to Inglourious Bastards. So from like Reservoir Dogs to Inglourious Bastards, he had his editor, and she made those movies feel that way. And something about that, there's an intuitiveness to it. You know, we all have different experiences, and in that world, there's a whole video breaking it down. Like, this woman names off so many different editors that like didn't really get the credit, you know what I mean? And this is stuff that we wouldn't know because we just see the director's name and go, oh, well, that's their movie, you know, like, oh, they did it. Oh, well, that's who we know. That's the name. That's the brand, right? And it's good to know little things like that, because for us, you know, we want to be inclusive into all ideas, and we want to try to build up like a community within ourselves that's diverse and respectable and willing to like see fit in all ways of life, right? Because we're fucking weird dudes, man. You know, we're not like, I don't know, normies. we're strange dudes, and we like to tell weird stories, and we like to get into deep, dark threads of life. And you know, I've had a lot of friends that don't necessarily want to do that. You know, they don't want to watch the weird, creepy shit that me and Kaden watch about shit. You know, like me and Kaden go in some deep fucking dives. We're fucking creepypasta kids, dude. We used to go to bed to fucking creepy ass stories, dude, and just like, tonight a man walked down the road in the dark with a creature following him. You know, all that shit. That's what we fucking grew up on, that basically. And so I feel like in a way you have to have that opinion otherwise too. Like, hey man, this shit's fucked up. This is weird. Hey dude.
Well, yeah, you need to have the diversity of opinion
Right.
then.
Yeah.
So as we're getting close to this premiere, you know, there's something about finishing a project and then being like, wow, here's this whole other basket of bullshit that I didn't
The
necessarily
marketing.
I didn't sign up to do. There's the clips I got to push out. There's the trailer, the vertical trailer. There's all these things. Like, what are the real goals of this next premiere that people can help with?
That's a good question. I don't know.
I was gonna say, honestly, what people can help with is honestly just spreading the word. Is honestly that, which actually,
Oh yeah, look at us. We're both gonna
I was about to say, do you got one, Will?
there you go.
I'll say, you want to show that, Matt?
Flick that out.
You got it.
God damn it.
One.
So let me see where my screen is. Oh, that's gonna be real blurred out.
Oh, that's okay. Here.
Can I get close enough to?
There it goes.
Oh.
It's starting. It's kind of, come on, autofocus. Do you think?
Is it this way?
Autofocus.
Autofocus, save us.
Here.
Yeah.
Can you see it on mine?
Yeah. Let's see. That might
Look
be.
at that. Little
Yeah,
QR
that's better.
Little QR
That's a
code.
lot better.
That's the best. Yeah, that's the best thing you could do. Honestly, is like find the Facebook event, go to the trailers on YouTube or Facebook or Instagram, like, share that stuff, and just spread the word, man. I mean, honestly, like with the Moonlight Hour marketing and push, like we literally did everything. Like we did so much. Like there was like little images and photos with like Moonlight Hour on it and like dates, and then there was the poster itself, and then there was the trailer, there was the teasers, there was we did the interview with the cast, you know, so we did everything, and we did all the reels, and I pumped out so many reels, and like and I learned a lot about what actually works, like what the algorithm wants on these different sites, right? So I noticed on Facebook specifically, it kind of gives or takes reels. Like you'll get a couple hundred views, but like it's kind of like a magic when you get 1,000, right? Whereas our clips, we would get 1,000 plus easy on our like full screen clips, just of like the scene. So like longer, like more like 5 minutes of a scene, like this scene, that scene. There was like 5 of them, I think, but those got thousands of views. And then YouTube is like a hit miss with the shorts, right? So but like that's the best place to drop shorts. Like the algorithm will favor you sometimes. I just dropped something 2 days ago, got 1,000 views, and it's from script. It's an old clip, and it just hits sometimes. So I learned of what to make and what not to make, because doing all of it is honestly wasting time, because it's not giving back the reward for the work, right? So what I decided to do with this is I do a little less of the push and do more pushing of the bigger pieces of content, like the poster, like the trailer, you know, and the teaser. And there's limited versions of it until we get to the release. And then what we'll do after release is we'll put clips of full scenes on Facebook, and then we'll put shorts on YouTube along with like the night of release, the premiere itself, and then the film itself.
Great. And if someone wants to get tickets for the premiere, tell me the date again. Tell me where to go.
It's October 10th. It will be at Urban Artifact / Radio Artifact. You can get tickets online at, I believe it's Cincy Ticket / Fall from Grace. It's on the event page on Facebook, and then also Radio Artifact. I'm sure they have a website, or so you can go and get it on there. And then it starts at 7. Doors open at 7:30. Show starts at 8. We're doing a sweet costume contest. So like there's I think I mentioned that earlier, the chance to win a prize basket, a bunch of merch of ours, and some candy and some little trinkets we went and got out, like kind of witchy and Halloween themed. I'm excited to see everyone's costume. That's honestly what the most thing I'm excited for in this whole film. It's funny enough.
It's a good call to action to get people to go that extra mile with it.
Yeah,
so.
it's gonna be more fun. And then we're also gonna have Dead Humor rock the fucking night out after the premiere and after the costume contest. They're gonna get up there. I'm sure they're gonna be dressed up in the fucking best costumes ever. They
Shirtless,
just
covered in blood.
Oh yeah, covered in blood. They might. I hope they bring out like a hose, and spray everybody. I can see those guys doing that.
Oh yeah, dude.
They're a rowdy bunch and they're crushing it. So
they're killing the
I
game
like
right
that
now.
pairing. I like that a lot.
They're working. They're busy, dude. I've seen them have a show every fucking weekend for the last like 3 months, and like I've known them dudes for a few years now. I mostly know Anthony. I've seen him a few more times. But they've always been real cool with me. We've always been able to have a lot of fun, because we're all weird dudes. It's like, yeah, let's fucking do it. Them on the podcast, we did the fake where they beat me up because, hey, we didn't want you to say that about us. And so they like fake kicked my ass and shit. It was so, they have a lot of fun, and I like that sort of energy. And so I'm like, what an energy to bring to a premiere, because I kind of always envisioned our premieres of like, I want it to be kind of like a Quentin Tarantino film, like, you kind of come in, like, you get to experience all this shit and this film, and, like, everyone's dressed up and looking cool and fucking feeling good, and then all of a sudden a fucking raging kick-ass band comes out and just melts your face off. That's all I can ask for with that kind of shit.
It's more with that, we're trying to make more of, like, an experience. Like, even if you don't like the film or any of our stuff, you'll still have a good time with it. It's like going to a live concert. Even if you're not the biggest fan of the music, just because of the atmosphere and, like, everyone else having a good time, because of that, you have a good time.
I think it'd be quite interesting to have the film play, and then during the band set, run the film again on the back projector.
Oh,
so that you would have a musical overlay for some of this. Where
Shit,
That's
man,
a
that's a
kinda
good
good
idea,
idea, yeah.
dude.
that could be weird.
I mean, I'm down with weird, dude.
I'll talk to Devin about it. I'm sure we can make that
We know
happen.
you guys are down with weird. You don't need to affirm that. So,
We've said that 3 times now, I think.
all right. Anything else you want to push while we're here?
I guess we could talk a little bit about. I think we could start talking about our next endeavors. We do have a couple short films we've been working on, and script writing and developing, and then we have that big film project that we've been working on for the last 5 years that we've talked to you about. Are we willing to talk about that stuff now?
I'll say we can mention it. I wouldn't want to go to full into detail of that stuff.
No, especially not the big one.
I will say as future projects go, Maisie is actually working on Run right now. I won't give too much of the details of that, but
Can
there's
we
some in
say what it
development.
is?
Can we?
Yeah. So we're developing a Mothman movie right now, and we're not fucking around, dude. We're building a suit. We're building fucking light rigs. We're doing all of it, dude, and we're trying to go and film out in parts of is it
Point Pleasant.
We're trying to go out and film certain parts and kind of like get the environment, see what like around here matches well, so we can shoot here and shoot there, kind of like a day trip sort of thing. Yeah, we're in development right now. The story has changed multiple times, but it's beautiful because the essence has like stayed the same, And honestly, that's kind of where we're at. So we have a few. At this point in time, dude, me and Kaden are purely, when it comes to us and our writing and our stories, the ones that we're developing from our brainchild, is purely one movie right now, which is that feature-length film. We've spent the last probably year rewriting, editing, reworking, creating new within that space. And then while we've been doing that, we've had our friends within the group have been writing their own stories. And we are now going to be moving into developing theirs before we move into our big project. So we have 3 different short films. One's the Mothman one, which is Maisie's project. She's the writer. It's going to direct most of it. I'm sure I'll like co-direct and have different roles to help her accomplish the goals. And then our friend Austin Newton, he's had this story. We kind of made a deal with him back in Moonlight Hour. We'd say we'd help him on this movie he's got. I don't know if I want to drop the name or not. I don't want to give away anything for him. It's his business. But he's been working on a project. We're going to help him do that as well. Super fun, dude. Like comedy, horror. It's so good. The theme is so fucking good, dude. I wish I could get into more detail. I would like permission from him to talk more about it. But and then Ricky, your favorite.
I was gonna ask you afterwards, but I'll just tell him now. I love you, Ricky. I always will.
You.
It is your squeeze that gets the true juice from this little lemon. I love you.
He loves you too, man. He talks about you. You're one of the dudes he does talk about and mention pretty often. So
he's a beautiful human being. It's when people find their artistry at a stage in life where other folks will tell you don't have time for this. You're being a dad. You're working a job. That's a guy that's found it and put pedal to the floor, and I admire the fuck out of that.
Dude, absolutely. Oh yeah, dude, he's done so much hard work for us, and he's really embodied a lot of characters that we've given him, and he always steps up to the plate, and no matter what he's got going on, if we really ask him for it, then he comes out and he shows up. Yeah. And he's got a film he's been writing. He's finally kind of just, because we developed script together. Me and him wrote it. Kaden typed it, but me and Ricky got the beats together, and then he did like a short story with us where I was like an Australian mob boss and Ricky was like the captive. He like directed. It was kind of like his introductory class. Like, okay, we'll show you kind of how to like do all this stuff that we do, like the mics, the cameras, the lights, blah blah blah, coordination. Kind of give him an opportunity to learn. That was a few years ago now, but so he's writing this script, and I'm gonna drop some shit on this one because it's Ricky, so I don't care, Rick. We ain't like hiding nothing with this. He's got a film he's developing called Dead Deer, and it's about, right now it may change. We're still in script writing and development and trying to understand the story, but it's mostly about this mortuary worker that gets this John Doe, and this dead body starts talking to him, and it's comedic, right? But it's weird and morbid at the same time, and it's almost like about the bond they build is like in a friendship, and then like obviously the outcome I can't really get into, but yeah, it's about kind of like building a relationship with something you just how would you've had great lines today, Kaden, so I'm gonna let you take the cake.
I'll say it's subject to change, but as it sits now, it's more or less the feeling of like moving on before, I'll say, making the most of the time that you have, because any day you can just drop dead. Right. You can be that dead body on the slab talking to the mortician just as easily as it could be the other way around. It's like none of this is guaranteed. So we're me and Ricky and Will and Maisie's been helping on that as well, trying to figure out which way we're going to take that. Yeah, as far as like theming wise goes, of to make that point of like live every day to your fullest, do the best you can, and like understand that, like I said, none of this is guaranteed and that you can drop dead. And like, what are you doing with your life? Right. If you drop dead tomorrow, are you satisfied with where you are? Are you at least happy where you are?
Yeah, and it almost touches on the point of like what Kaden said of like, you know, you only have this moment, and especially this guy being dead, and he like resurrects and starts talking to him, and like they're having these moments, and like they kind of feel each other out. It's weird at first, but then he starts to talk to him and like start to get to know each other, and it's a dude, you know, but it's a weird situation. So you come into it with like this little bit of tension, right? It's a fucking dead body talking to you, so it's strange, but it invokes the human identity of like us just wanting companionship, us just wanting a friend. This guy obviously doesn't talk to many people outside of his work, you know, and we kind of want to set the settlement of isolation and all those sort of themes. And like Kaden said, we haven't really developed the full thing yet, but we're slowly picking and choosing what we want it to be about.
That's beautiful, and yeah, I really love the way that. While also going full force towards your own projects and the many things that are on your list, y'all continually step into other people's creative endeavors, whether it's music videos, whether it's live events like you've always helped me out with, whether it's Ricky's films or whoever comes to the table. You two don't miss, and I adore you both for that. So thanks for stopping by today. October 10th, Falls and Grace. Radio Artifacts, CincyTicket.com.
Yes.
Make sure you find it. Get to the event page on Facebook, all the other things. Gentlemen, I love you both. Thanks for being here.
Love you very much, Matt.
Thank you very much,
brother.
Freaky dudes. Get out of here.